All right, let's talk about some talk tracks to use when talking to prospects about their cyber score. I printed out the cyber scorecard. Here it is, one page back in front, nice thick paper. So when I talk to small business owners at live in-person events or on webinars or one-to-one about their cyber score, usually I just talk about the dark web breaches and the email impersonation protection. I recommend starting just with those two. I find that they're the most accessible talking points. The rest of the scoring criteria, especially the stuff about websites, often goes above the typical small business owner's capacity to understand. It's not like they can't understand, it's that it's not as accessible to them immediately. So save that for later in the conversation. I would just start by talking about dark web breaches and email impersonation protection, then pause to gauge their response. If they're following along and say, yeah, tell me more, tell them more. If at that point you see that their attention is falling off and they don't like it, then they're not picking up what you're talking about, this might be the first sign that they're not interested in learning more about cybersecurity, which you use as a disqualifier in your sales process. So that's why I like talking about dark web breaches and email impersonation and then pausing to gauge their response. Now let's dive in. When you talk about dark web breaches, the reason that this is the hottest hook to use in the cyber scorecard is that the news does a great job at telling everyone, particularly small businesses, that criminals are coming for their passwords. Oftentimes, there's no more hacking involved with breaking into someone's accounts. Like, you don't need to decrypt their password or hack it. Criminals will just go onto these breach forums, find stolen credentials, get the email and password combo from something like Canva or LinkedIn.com, and then use those to try and log into targets' accounts like their Microsoft account or bank account or Facebook account or whatever. And that's what we're looking for. So these dark web breach lists, if we look on the back, dark web breach lists will be like third-party sites like Canva.com or MyFitnessPal or Luxottica. Criminal gangs will break into those databases, which often have less secure servers than Microsoft or Facebook or Bank of America. They'll break into these third-party services, assuming that regular people reuse the email and password combos for everything, because statistically that's true. So the gangs will assume that people are reusing their password. They break into a third-party account like Canva, steal the email and password combo, and then try and log into Microsoft or Facebook or Bank of America. And that's called credential stuffing, but this is what the criminals are relying on. So when you're talking about dark web breaches with a small business owner, just say, hey, are you reusing passwords for any of your accounts? Are your employees reusing passwords? Statistically, they are. So they'll probably cringe and say, yeah, I think we are. Then your response is great. That's an easy way to improve your cybersecurity. It's one of the best low-hanging fruit to address, and it's totally free. We just need to go in and tell your employees to start using unique passwords for all of their accounts. The convenient way of doing this is with a password manager. So this can be the next lead magnet that you offer to your prospects. So say, hey, let us set you up with one of our password managers, whatever you use, like Keeper or Bitwarden or 1Password or ProtonPass. Offer that as the next step. You might even want to offer this for free. It's a very sticky lead magnet, and it really helps them with their cyber hygiene. So that's what we want to talk about with dark web breaches. On the cyber scorecard, on the cyber score landing page and inside the Iceberg app, you can click on any of the breaches to read more about them, like when they happened and what exact personal identifiable information was stolen. You can use that in your talking points. But effectively, like in this sample company, the employees lost 54 of we found 54 dark web breaches out of 40 email accounts. So pretty much everyone's got a password leaked. What I would do is just go through the list on the back and say, hey, is Jerry and Jenny reusing passwords? If so, we should tell them to reset their passwords, and better, start using unique passwords for every account, use a password manager, and use multi-factor authentication. With those, you're going to do them a huge solid in improving their cyber hygiene. Next point is talking about email impersonation protection. So what this means is this is an email security setting that prevents criminals from forging emails that look like they came from this domain. For example, this one that I'm holding is summitadvisors.com as a sample. So they don't have their email impersonation protection configured. They don't have the DNS records set up that list which servers are allowed to send emails from summitadvisors.com, which means I can send an email from the CEO of summitadvisors.com to anyone, to their employees and to their clients. The easiest way to fish someone is to look for this weakness and then email the employees from the CEO or the HR person's email account. Like the email accounts are listed on the back of the scorecard. So we could forge an email from Steve, who's the co-owner, to any of the other employees. The employees would think that it came from Steve. And in the email, I'd put something like, hey, we're updating our vacation policy. Click here to read more. And that's a malicious link. So if you see that email impersonation protection is a failure, this is a very important security setting to address with them. Fortunately, it's free and easy to fix. It takes like 5 minutes. We just need to put some DNS records in their registrar's DNS settings. The instructions are in the blog. It's a great thing to talk about. So those are the first two things that I would talk to any prospect about when reading their cyber scorecard. Go over their dark web breaches, talk about email impersonation protection, and then pause there to gauge their response. If they're following along with you and you can tell that you've piqued their interest, then they're curious about cybersecurity, ask them more questions. If you're losing them at this point, maybe they aren't interested. This is a good disqualifier for you. The sooner you get to know, the better, and this might be the first sign of no. At this point, I would just pivot and say, hey, who else do you know that might want to see their cyber score? And then see if you can get an intro. That's it. Those are two good talking points when bringing up the cyber scorecard with prospects.